Hi, I'm Kelly Finley, CEO and Creative Director of Joy Street Design, an interior design studio focusing on residential and commercial interiors. I also am the CEO of Joy Street Initiative, our sister nonprofit that focuses on renovating women's shelters throughout the Bay Area and beyond. When I started my design firm in 2011, I always knew there would be a nonprofit component to it. And for several years, I was trying to figure out what that would look like. So it wasn't until like 2018 that I was doing another alumni hosted event and we were painting a room in a shelter. And it just felt wrong in the sense of the skill sets did not match what we were doing. I ended up hiring our painters to come and fix it. And an idea developed in my mind that there would be a way to give back that provided a little bit more dignity and respect to the people receiving the gifts. So I created Joy Street Initiative in that kind of one moment from that to say I wanted to create something where we take what our skill set is, which is creating beautiful spaces, and apply it to these other nonprofit organizations who are actually doing the hard work. I used to be a corporate attorney. So when I had this idea, I thought that I would be able to file a 501c3. Mind you, I was a litigation attorney, so I don't know why I thought I would know how to do any of that. But I ended up honestly just reaching out to my former law firm and asking for pro bono work to file my 501c3. That process actually took almost 6 months. It is a fairly lengthy process, but through the help of an attorney, I was able to put in place the mechanisms to accept donations. I can facilitate the entire process and therefore have a lot more control over who I am able to give to, what we're able to give, how we can use our resources and even our vendor relationships. And once you have that 501c3 designation, it's really easy to keep it. So as a nonprofit organization, there are actually a handful of requirements that you have to keep everything separate. So while all the accounts are at the same bank, the website's probably on the same server, they technically have to be separate. So we have set it up where Joy Street Initiative is its own entity, has its own, obviously, email addresses, bank accounts, credit cards, and everything like that. The only overlap is the staff. And since nobody gets paid for that work, that's not something we've had to figure out at this point anyway. When we started Joy Street Initiative, the idea was to just take money from the design firm and use it to do projects. At some point, it became clear that we needed to have designated funds for these projects, and that's when we implemented that 10% of our overall profits would go to the nonprofit. Just this year, we made the change where now a portion of every design fee goes into the nonprofit. Already in April, we're at $20,000 worth of donations, right, to the nonprofit. And so this is really us making our clients understand how important it is to us, as well as giving us the funds, obviously, to continue to do projects. One of the best things about the nonprofit is the number of clients or potential clients who reach out to us, and they list the fact that we have the nonprofit as one of the reasons they reached out to us. Over the last couple of years, we have worked primarily with one or two specific organizations. So when they reach out and ask us to do a project, we take that project and we assign it just like every other project. It goes on our project list. It gets kind of raffled off to a certain extent in a meeting. I'll bring it up. For example, we just did a project here in Georgia where we were renovating the bedroom of a young girl who has leukemia. I specifically wanted one of my design assistants to run that project. And this is a great opportunity because obviously I'm on the project and we're keeping tabs on it because everything runs through the firm the same. But I knew that she needed some project management development. And so by giving her a project where we don't usually have like a one-bedroom like project, this was a great opportunity for her skill set to grow, and she still gets the full benefit of the firm. Another reason we started adding the mandatory donation for our clients is we did the math and we realized that if we were getting $5,000 per project or so, that would create a part-time position in the nonprofit as well that would allow someone else to be able to reach out to new organizations, reach out to vendors, and do all the stuff that is actually a lot of work on our end to be trying to do that as well as our regular full-time job. We are currently looking for an administrator essentially for the nonprofit. We anticipate this is only going to need to be 10 to 40 hours a month, so definitely part-time. And we just want this person to be the point of contact. We have to treat the Joy Street Initiative projects the same as every other project. Otherwise, there's always deadlines, there's always too much work to get done in a day, and it would naturally fall to the end of everybody's cycle if they did not have to report back to me every week in the Monday meetings. We get the project, we go take measurements, we talk with the team to see what they want from the project, and then we run it through our process. So the only difference may be the amount of money we're spending, obviously, or the fact that we are at the whims of, the donation sometimes, or even the trades who might be donating their time. But otherwise, everything else is run exactly the same. A lot of my team comes to our firm with a knowledge of the fact that we have a nonprofit. I will say that after we are able to do a project and a true install, the difference in my team is like night and day. It's like going from this theoretical idea to actually seeing it in action. And I think there is just a general sense of really feeling like you're giving back in a way that most people don't get a chance to do it. It's just a much easier way to connect. The hardest part of running this nonprofit is actually finding people to give our services to. We're obviously designers, so it's gonna be not an easy process. And a lot of nonprofits just don't have the bandwidth for it. The way we have really identified the places that we work with is through networking, looking around our city to see who needs help. We've kind of decided that the larger shelters are going to be the ones that can really deal with us, because there is just a lot of logistics, as we all know, with any kind of interior design project, and that's not going to change just because it happens to be in a nonprofit organization. We rely on our vendors for a lot of in-kind donations. It's all those things that if we don't get them, we have to pay for. It's been really wonderful. We have at least 6 vendors, I would say, that if we reach out to them, they're like, tell us what you need. If it's in stock, you can have it. It's lowered our cost, obviously, to do the projects, but it's also made them a much bigger priority in our vendor list for when we're not doing a nonprofit organization. It might take a long time for your vendors to get back to you, but at the end of the day, when you're finishing a project and when you hear that a family moved into this shelter and they're doing better on the program because they have a loved space, it's gonna be all worth it. So it's definitely not an easy thing, but at the end of the day, it has always been worth it.